Welcome to Rewrite Rising, the podcast where you can rewrite your health journey and rise above your past. I'm Drew, sharing Mindset Mondays to ground and guide you, thriving Thursdays to cut through the noise and bring clarity to nutrition. If you find these conversations helpful or think someone else would enjoy them too, make sure that you are subscribed. Whether you're tuning into YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else, feel free to share them along the way. All right, let's get into today's episode. You have this feeling, something like nagging in the back of your mind, that there's something important that you should be doing. You just can't stop. You know that feeling, right? Well, we've all been there. You have big projects, small tasks, you're making a healthier choice for dinner. Turns out, procrastination isn't about managing your time and how badly you're managing your time. It actually may be tied with your health in some pretty surprising ways. And today, we're going to do a deep dive into some recent research looking at studies from Sweden and Italy that are uncovering the links between procrastination and a whole range of health outcomes, mental well-being, lifestyle, habits, and more. Now, then we'll broaden out to explore some crucial but often missed when you eat and how timing impacts your body. Finally, we'll look about how habits can change and what strategies might actually work. My mission today is to give you a shortcut to getting you informed on this, and hopefully a few things stick with you moments. So let's start with procrastination itself. We all want to be a part of let's get it done tomorrow crew. Just be real. We've seen that t-shirt, right? And we think we know what it is, but what does it actually mean in a research context? Technically, it's defined as a voluntarily delaying of something you intend to do, even though you know there will probably be negative consequences. It's not just laziness. It's an active choice to delay and often feeling bad about the task itself. Sounds pretty right to me. It's incredibly common, by the way, amongst university students. An example of 70 to 95% procrastinate at least sometimes, and almost half do it consistently and problematically. That's a lot of people. Now, this leads us to the procrastination health model. It suggests that procrastination can hurt health in a few ways. Increase overall stress, which pretty sure that you and I know. It leads to doing less of the healthy stuff like exercising or eating well. It can make people delay in seeking medical help when they need it. So it's not just about putting off an assignment. It could mean putting off a doctor's visit, which compounds things. In 2023, Johansson and colleagues ran a cohort study in Sweden, following over 3,500 university students over 9 months. They found clear links between higher procrastination, poor health outcomes, and even after adjusting for the baseline of health. Now, individual associations were statistically modest, but the important point was the breadth. Procrastination connected to a wide range of negative health outcomes. So, for example, the higher procrastination scores are linked, the more symptoms of depression, anxiety, and stress. But it also related to physical pain, like specifically disabling pain in the upper limbs, shoulders, arms, though not actually in the back or neck. We'll take that. We'll take little leaps of things. In terms of lifestyle, procrastination was linked to poor sleep quality and being less physically active. Socially, it correlated with greater loneliness and even more economic difficulties. So interestingly, the Swedish study didn't find strong links with smoking, alcohol, cannabis use, or breakfast skipping. But the new Italian study published in 2024 by Licata and colleagues did. This study looked about 500 Italian university students, and like the Swedish one, it reinforced procrastination equals sleep connection. But it also found that students who engaged in hazardous alcohol consumption had sustainably higher procrastination scores, and those who frequently skipped breakfast also showed higher procrastination scores. Now, that's a direct contrast to the Swedish findings, which also show how results can vary based on culture or annual groups. The Italian team also uncovered something fascinating: clustering. They looked at how risky habits like poor sleep, hazardous drinking, and breakfast skipping stack up together. And they found procrastination scores didn't just add up across these risks, they shot up exponentially. Now, someone with these three risky habits had procrastination scores over 6 points or higher on average than some with none. It suggests that procrastination might be a central hub connecting multiple unhealthy habits. And If the procrastination connects to habits like poor sleep and irregular eating, it naturally leads us to diet, not just what we eat, but when. So our bodies run on circadian rhythms in nearly every cell. Every cell. These clock coordinate sleep, feeding, and fasting, hormone release, heart function, digestion, our whole daily physiology. Eating at times when your body clock expects sleep, like late at night, can throw things off. Your body processes food most effectively when you're active and it's light outside. So what does the research say about optimal timing? Mangoin and colleagues in 2019 highlighted a few key habits. Consistent daily eating duration, often called time-restricted eating or TRE. This means eating all of your food within a window of 8 to 12 hours and keeping it consistent day to day. TRE has been linked to better blood pressure, improved blood sugar control, and even better sleep and appetite regulation. Eating earlier in the day, like larger meals, early align better with how our bodies handle insulin. Eating late at night, close to bedtime, when the melatonin is rising, is linked to more body fat and worse blood sugar responses. Distributing calories wisely. That old saying, breakfast's like a king, lunch like a prince, dinner like a pauper, actually has some scientific support. Larger protein-rich breakfasts can improve blood sugar control and may even support weight loss. Keeping meals times regularly actually helps. So like irregular eating patterns, like being structured on the weekdays but erratic on the weekends, are actually linked to obesity, diabetes, and cardiovascular risk. Wild. Barely when you eat matters to your heart. Breakfast is particularly a tricky point. The Italian study linked skipping it to higher procrastination, and observational studies linked it to higher risk for obesity and diabetes. But randomized trials muddy the picture. Like one 4-month study found that no weight difference between breakfast eaters and skippers. It may be all about overall eating patterns and breakfast alone. Just be realistic. We need a little bit more research on that. So if habits like eating timings are complex and procrastination plays a role, how do we change them? Well, in 2024, by Doug and colleagues looked at patients with chronic pain. Many had poor eating habits, irregular meals, lots of fast food, high sugar intake. About 20% explicitly said that they actually wanted to eat healthier. Younger patients, those with obesity and those with more widespread pain, were most likely the ones that wanted to change, which interestingly, people who had already had better habits were less likely to want change. Some people with the most room for improvement were also the ones most open to change. It's just like the promising intervention window, which is actually really nice when kind of like a duh in my book. But how you approach that change? Well, a 2010 meta review by Sweet and Forder compared interventions and targetings by single versus multiple health behaviors. The findings were pretty wow. So for improving one specific behavior, like exercising more, single focused interventions worked best. Narrow focused seems to prevent overwhelm. But for weight loss, multiple behavior interventions, diet plus exercises, were far more effective. Exercise alone has weak results. A diet alone was kind of mixed, but combined, what approaches had strong, lasting effects. So that strategy kind of depends on your goal. If the habits change, focus on one thing. If it's weight reduction, combined approaches, things of that nature. So let's kind of just wrap this up. It doesn't need to be really that long, just kind of understanding how procrastination actually affects our health. We've seen that it isn't just a productivity issue. It's tied to mental health, pain, sleep, and wellness, and even lifestyle behavior like drinking and eating patterns. Well, the Italian study's clustering insight shows procrastination may act as a hub of connecting multiple unhealthy habits. We also have seen how timing matters. Eating earlier, consistently, and regular patterns seem to have a benefit health-wise and sometimes independent of weight loss, but complexity still remains about breakfast. Again, we need some more research. So finally, we look to change. People often do want to improve. Tailoring interventions, single versus multiple, makes a big difference. Key takeaway: procrastination, habits, timing, and health are all interconnected. So here's a question for you, okay, the listener. What's a single small consistent health action you can start today? One that might break your own cycle of delay and spark a positive ripple effect for your well-being. I would like to hear more, so please put something in the comments. I want to thank you for listening to Rewrite Rising. Remember, you don't have to get it right, you just have to start. Rewrite your health journey and rise above your past. New episodes drop every Monday and Thursday. So follow, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.